Hello. Isn't this a fine morning? No,
So you...
No, I'm sorry. As I said, this is just a day off. We just arrived anyway.
There's something friendly and familiar. He's telling the truth. He hasn't seen anyone.
Sure. What's on your mind? But of course. What else?
The once bright mural towers above you, saying, Feld Electrical, R&D. Tomorrow is just a whisper away.
Yes, what is it?
Ruination has come. The broken arches betray the once grand history of this building. It towered over the harbor until it happened. A great force from the northeast fired into the city. Heavy artillery shelled the coastline. Fired from the water, a straight shot into Revachol. The tenement acted as a defensive wall against the worst of the shelling until it was destroyed, and they had a direct firing line. The wind blows through your hair. The sea breeze cuts around you, high on the balcony as you stare over the edge at the sea. The waves of the Martinez Inlet roll over the fallen remains of the building. The dark waters obscure the better part of the remains. This is where the damage came from somewhere in the inlet, the cannons. What didn't fall into the ocean was used as scrap. What wasn't used as scrap was thrown into the ocean. Those arches acted as support for something greater than what you see now. Only 3 stories stand where 9 to 12 once did. Restoration has failed. What the shelling took out was never rebuilt. Underwater, iron helmets have sunk deep into the sand and the mud. Helmets of soldiers and their finger bones too, and clavicles, littering the ocean floor. A fleet, the combined armies of Occident and Grad, with Mesk volunteers, a 5-nation army, hundreds of vessels. They massed airships further down in the Bay of Revachol. The artillery was so powerful. The ships not only required gyroscopic stabilization, they were anchored into the ocean floor as well. Many are still there to this day. If you squint, you can just barely see the shadow on the water, far in the northeast. Coalition warship Archer can shoot 50 shells a minute on 20 co-aligned archers. They will reach the city in 58 seconds.
The coalition. But that was a long time ago. I think we should move on. It's chilly up here.
He does not like talking politics of this kind. From the eyes of a seagull, a nest of brown hair not worth the 50-foot dive. From a pedestrian on the dock, a rugged man staring out to sea, mere feet from fatality. From a guest on the balcony of the Whirling in Rags, a silhouette imposing enough to be seen at a distance. The chill is bracing. The salt hangs in the air. The wind from the ocean pushes at you, smoothing your moustache. This door is made of metal. No one answers.
Let's go. There's nothing.
Officer, care to play a game with the lonely old man? Actually, never mind. Wouldn't be the same. The prick is gone. I can barely believe it. But he's really gone.
He is trying to retain his jolly facade, but the underlying sadness casts a deep shadow over his wrinkled face.
Hell, most likely. He was an absolute Kent. His hungry little heart finally gave out. The dock workers found him in the guard booth this morning. Wasn't even supposed to be working for another week, but he just had to prove how tough he is.
Wait, did he push himself to prove he can pull his weight and doesn't need handouts?
Guess he was about to head home, 'cause when the dock workers found him, he was wearing civilian clothes and not the Kuketu uniform I saw him in all the time. Sometimes I thought he was wearing it just to piss me off. Now the joke's on him, 'cause he's gonna be buried without it.
That means the uniform could still be in the guard booth. Something to keep in mind if you really plan to give yourself to Revachol.
No, René was the most stubborn man in Revachol. Nothing you or I could say would ever push him to do anything. The man was completely immovable.
He has doubts, but right now, he just wants to move on and not think about it.
I repeat, an absolute Kent. Even his old army buddies didn't want him around. He was like an old viper. The only people who could stand to be around him were Jenny and me. She saw something in him when we were just kids and she never lost sight of it. And I thought if the most beautiful being in the world can love him, then there must be something worth holding on to. We've hated each other our entire lives. So much, in fact, that... Yes, I loved that angry prick. He didn't deserve it, but I did. You know what his last words to me were? In Guillaume's time, you'd have been shot without trial. That's what he said to me. He lived a cunt and he died a cunt. Let's leave it at that. I took them for myself. Took them to remember that old cunt. Nobody knew him better than I did. and I want to remember that old cunt by something.
Strange how old cunt sounds almost gentle when he says it now.
Let me see. This was 60 years ago. We all went to that parade. Young René looked so happy, and Jenny... I'm sorry, officer. I just... Thank you. Thank you for this little memorabilia. It really means the world to me.
That was nice. A small thing for us, but invaluable to him. He probably didn't even know René had the photo. Yes, we are both very sorry for your loss.
It is what it is. Part of life, really. But to know someone for 79 years, then one day they're just gone. I just don't know anymore. About anything, really. But you must need something. René wasn't really what you'd call a botanist, officer. And believe me, he didn't like Insulindian lilies. That's their old name, dating back to the time of kings and crests, and all that other stuff he loved so much. There were many reasons, but mostly it was the communards. They called them the Bells of Revolution. I guess in the end, the Insulindian lilies were just another piece of the whole Insulinde. The royalists had to surrender to the Mazovian insurgents. It doesn't really matter anymore. Yes? What about René?
Yes,
It is what I just don't know anymore.
Hello. Isn't this a fight?
The once bright mural towers above you.
in there? She could. Or she could be in the identical room over there, or in that boat shack. In that church tower, maybe.
Why single out this one building? Even though you're sure you succeeded, all is quiet. There is no cold hand brushing against your forehead, no rustle in the reeds. The wind has died down. The ruin in front of you is silent as a tomb. Trying to talk to the wind, the city, whatever you thought would happen did not. And now you're just standing there in the pale of the morning, with your hands fallen to your side. Is trying to talk to the city something you've done before? Is it in your secret repertoire? A trick for when you're out of ideas?
How do we? I was really hoping she'd be in the village. Okay. She's probably north of the village, and this place is a peninsula. We already scanned most of the outdoor areas on our wild cryptid hunt, so we have an understanding of the geography, at least. And then there's the church. We've already searched that and can rule it out. I know it doesn't feel like progress, but exclusion is a step too. Anyway, we do it the old-fashioned way, sector by sector. Go over the whole peninsula, ask the locals, enter the places where we can enter first, like we did in the village. Then, if we're desperate, we can look where we can't enter. Bunkers, storm drainage, displays. I'm sure it won't come to that.
Walk the coast, the old boardwalk, the reeds. You can always come back here and talk to the wind again. Look where it already got you. An adventure awaits. An adventure on the windswept urban coast. Buckle up and raise your collar. This search is going to be wet and cold. Suddenly, there's a sigh, carried on the molecules around you, moving, flowing from high pressure to low pressure, like that of a woman emptying her lungs. She wraps the collapsing stone box in front of you in her breath, flowing through it. In through the collapsed roof, flowing down a concrete staircase to the basement, sweeping away footprints in the dust on the stairs, and then the beach below the boardwalk, its winding tunnels, a whisper away.
She's down there.
Okay, why? So, how do we get in there? The doors were on the collapsed side of this building. They're gone, basically.
Finally, my time to shine.
Perhaps you can climb them. We are not climbing anything. I'm 43 years old, and I plan to live to see 70.
There has to be a way to use brute force. Climbing sounds unsafe. Brute force is safe. Look around and find something to break if the ladder fails. A rusty ladder leads to the rooftop. Some of the rungs are missing.
Yeah, that doesn't look good at all.
The distances between the remaining rungs are rather wide. You'd have to use the mounting brackets. However, they seem corroded and the peeling rust is razor sharp. In addition, the first rung is going to be tough to reach. It's what, 3 meters above the ground, and you're 180? Not to mention that the roof is collapsing and the wind gets pretty brutal up there. Dismounting from the ladder is going to be hard. Perhaps if you were to not climb the ladder. Instead, what if you were to do something more subtle? What if you were to reconceptualize climbing the ladder?
Teleportation is not a thing. Okay, let's say teleportation is a thing. Wouldn't you need some kind of scientific apparatus to create a teleportation field? You can't just do it without apparatus.
What are they talking about?
Teleportation, Mikhail. It's generally thought impossible.
Oh yes, it could hurt. A lot.
All you need to do is close your eyes and concentrate. Darkness enfolds you. You can feel the distance between the bench and the first rung of the ladder. All you need to is zoot, zap, pow, crinkle. It's like magic. You feel yourself disappear, your atoms fading out of existence.
Oh my god, I can't believe it.
Bam! You find yourself on the roof, having mastered the art of physical displacement.
I just saw you climb the ladder. You just climbed it like a regular person.
No, not like a regular person. Like a phase spider. The wind at the top of the building starts howling loudly, blowing away the lieutenant's voice. Faintly you hear,
Never mind. Find a way to let me in when you get inside. Don't go adventuring without backup, especially if we think the suspect may be hiding here.
Two rusty metal plates that slide apart form a crude door. It's been here under the boardwalk for a while.
What do you mean who's there? It's me, Kim. Stop ringing around and help me get the door open. What do you mean who's there? It's me, Kim. Stop ringing around and help me get the door open.
The doors seem to be on rails, but they've gotten jammed. You grab a side and put some strength into prying it open. With the help of your partner, the two metal panels slide open with a creak.
Huh. I hope no one dangerous heard that. After you climbed up to the roof, you mean? There's a maintenance entrance under the boardwalk. It's next to a drain pipe, possibly a storm drain. It was easy to miss before.
He's quite proud of himself.
At least now we have an exit, so let's get going. It's time to investigate these passages.
A mustachioed and mutton-chopped man, amateurishly depicted, gazes at you with sad eyes. The plaque reads, K. Mazov. There is a spiderweb in the lower left corner of the portrait. Years' worth of dust is shaken off. The full head of hair, matched by an ample moustache and sideburns, look a bit silly. Someone crouches, heels digging into wet sand. Hands sweep across the sand, grains sticking to the frayed skin of the fingertips. An old man sits on a slab of concrete and taps his fingers against the glass of a scope. You shudder.
Yes, I can see that. Looks like some communists were hiding out here. They left a long time ago.
The lieutenant does not seem to share your enthusiasm.
Half a century? This was probably part of the network of defense posts the communards built against the amphibious landing. I think the purpose of this bunker was to produce propaganda. It would have had radio equipment back then, but that's all been looted. We have found a lot of those lately. I guess what most people think of as history tends to linger in rundown neighborhoods. Martinez being what it is, no one has gone through the trouble of cleaning out the old bunkers.
Good hiding place for someone who's up to no good.
I won't stand in your way, but only after we're through with this case. Millions of depictions of Mazov have been produced. They're not all connected. Besides, that looked like some student. The youths always go for this kind of stuff. You mean like Ruby? No, I think we've stumbled on a piece of history.
it is again, like a swarm of hornets buzzing under your scalp. A strange tingling you can almost smell.
No, what do you mean? I don't feel it, but we should still be careful. There were footprints back there, and I'm pretty sure they were fresh. Looks like our suspect. If she's in here, we need to plan our next step carefully. Once we detain a credible suspect, who knows what the Union and the Wild Pines will do? We'll set in motion events we have no control over.
You will upset the balance of power in Martinaise. The deadlock between the company and the Union will destabilize. This part of town is a fine clockwork puzzle. Disturb its peace and it will start breaking down uncontrollably. Keep calm. Go over the whole situation in detail.
Well, we are not responsible for what we can't predict, are we? I don't think the entire city will be razed to the ground.
If you can't predict it, there's nothing you could have done.
We absolutely cannot skip that appointment. Consider that 100% confirmed. I fear you'll need your gun for this.
His hand rests on his holster. It's not enough. You need a gun in your hand too. Your gun.
Definitely. I think she knows something about the mercenaries, maybe. And she won't be around if the situation explodes. I leave that to your judgment. You already know what I think about cross-pollinating information like this. It's dangerous, but...
He just can't be sure. Maybe it will yield something useful.
I think I see a cavern. Maybe more cellars? I think we've been careful enough. We still have the element of surprise.
I wouldn't be so sure. You haven't exactly been sneaking.
Or maybe not. Either way, once we go deeper, there will be no turning back.
Suddenly, your entire body is paralyzed. Aggressive white noise fills your skull. A strange pain, like you've never felt before. Through the static, you hear a woman's voice. It's like 1,000 radio stations are being blasted into your head all at once. But her words are the only ones you can make out.
I know you're feeling pretty uncomfortable right now. Don't move too much or fight it. That'll just make it worse. Can't say it's a pleasure, officer. I was really hoping not to make your acquaintance. But here we are.
As she says the word officer, you feel a spike in the agony. It sounds like the entire radio frequency range is screaming directly into your neural pathways. No, buddy, that's not going to help. You can't shield yourself from this. It's an entirely new type of experience. Way worse than all the previous ones.
No, I'm not going to fucking kill you. If that had been my plan, you'd be dead already. All things considered, I'm being pretty reasonable here. I'm using a pale latitude compressor. You and your partner have been caught in its field.
I hate to interrupt the deafening pain you're in, but Joyce said it was possible to force dimensions by using radio waves. This must be one of the devices used to send radio signals across the pale.
Wow, check out the big brains on you. You're not entirely wrong. A pale latitude compressor is used to sort of make the pale more manageable. With a lot of these, you can force a radio signal grid on the pale. Literally crunch the distance across it. Signals are relayed across a series of repeater stations fixed to buoys. Not a fun job, manning those stations. All alone out there in the Pale, people lose their minds in just a few years.
So, what we are experiencing is a concentration of radio waves.
Precisely. This is an industrial strength paraboloid. It's meant for forcing dimensions on something that doesn't have them. Needless to say, the frequencies used are out of this world. At the upper limit is the large prime number generator station. It's used specifically for pale latitude compression. That's why you may be hearing some numbers. But you might also hear, or think you're hearing, local radio chatter.
She likes telling you about the machine. Keep her talking. Look for an opportunity to break loose.
I built it myself.
And she's proud of it too, as she ought to be. This is way beyond your abilities.
That's illegal. I'm guessing it's patented. But we are beyond that, aren't we?
Oh yeah. Way beyond. No. Once I shut down the compressor, the pain will end. It may take a few minutes for you to steady yourself, though. It's a bit like waking out of a very confusing dream. Yeah, I stuck my head in there before using it on you. It seemed like the ethical thing to do. Can't say that I enjoyed it. The field was weaker, but I can imagine what you're going through. Yeah, let's not talk about that shit. You were hunting me and fell into my trap instead. That's all there is to say about it.
So she thinks of you as hunters, not the cops, and of herself merely as prey.
If you've got something really important to say, you can do it through the white noise.
You're looking for a deal on mattress.
Then this...
God damn it. Fine. If you really want to talk, I can dial it down. I've also got a gun, by the way.
The gun she's carrying is a two-barreled front loader, not like the murder weapon. Well, it doesn't feel much better, but you can form sentences now. Thinking doesn't seem to hurt as much. There's only 3 meters between you and the machine. If you keep her distracted for long enough, maybe. Be careful when you make your move. That'll be it for questions. Bide your time.
I heard you in the passages, and I've been preparing for quite a while. So you found my shack, huh? I'm not surprised.
Her tone is bitter. She thinks she's been betrayed.
So nice. That's one knife I didn't want to find to my back. This could have turned out pretty bad for me if you hadn't walked right into 25 bands of ultra-high frequencies.
That's her admitting the bullet was an emergency exit.
No, I didn't do it. I only helped stage the lynching, though I doubt that makes much of a difference to you. Who ratted me out, by the way? Was it Titus? No, he wouldn't have broken first. Oh, well, I guess I always knew she was a survivor above all else. But she couldn't have known I was on the coast. How did you find me?
Titus and his boys, man. They told us you were on the coast.
Well, fuck. Those guys liked me, I know it. If this is what happens to people whom people like, how the fuck do the rest of you get by? I did, didn't I? Now you've come for me. Fuck them all the same.
That did make her forgive them. A little.
Like what? I already told you I didn't do it.
A strong moral compass. She still wants the opportunity to make a case for herself.
I didn't like him. Hardened mercenaries aren't particularly likable types. Yeah, sure. And I didn't like Wild Pines sending in those foreign hirelings. Me and a fuck ton of other people around here.
I hate to be the bearer of bad tidings, but I don't think she's perjuring herself. She didn't hate him, okay?
You think I was envious of his conquests? Look, pussy's not a problem for me, and definitely not a reason to off someone. I'm listening. Man, I was with the boys the whole night. I hope they at least bothered to impress that upon you. You mean the length of a toilet break? That wouldn't even have been enough time. Look, fuck you, man. I might also have stopped by the bar.
She speaketh truth.
Wow. Now I'm curious. Please, explain. No. Not since I was 14 and hanging out in the only diner in Dardun. Haven't been into low-risk, no-reward games since moving to the city. Why? Don't know it, but also...
Evaluating your competence as a police officer.
The shot couldn't have come from the roof, or we would have all heard it downstairs.
She has a point there. No one mentioned.
That didn't go super well. You've got to lay something better on her.
And? The gun store. Trigger Happy Jacks. What did you think? That I'm going to squeal on my gun supplier? Sorry, I'm not that kind of gal. Sure don't.
A breech loader?
No.
This is such a wipeout.
A Nachtway 80 front loader. 2-barreled. Not really what you were looking for, I'm guessing.
That isn't it.
No, they're not practical. Break too often. Yeah, evidence. I considered her a good friend, yeah. What the hell, man? Yeah, why not? I've gotten worse.
Her hand slipped from the dial of the compressor for a moment, almost turning it down. Then she put her hand back. Not yet. Not...
Wow. Pissing, pinball, and now peeping. I'm just not following your insinuations, Detective. Look, I'm not aware of any hole in Claudia's wall. And if I had been, I would have told her to get it sealed. That's what friends do. Nope. Look, she has an effect on people. That je ne sais quoi that makes it impossible not to look at her when she walks into the room, and very difficult to look away. But travel enough and you realize, for the same reason that she's everyone's type as an object of desire, she's not irreplaceable.
Right on.
Oh, so that's where you were going with this. That's a very sentimental way of putting it. We both had pasts who didn't want to catch up with us, and we enjoyed listening to music together. Why not go on a road trip?
The lieutenant watches her expectantly, occasionally shaking from the pain.
Okay, fine. I was into her. Clausy was into me too for a time, I know it. We even fooled around once. And yeah, after that I thought maybe we could make a go of it.
Glasia only said they maybe kissed. Someone is lying here.
If that's what she wants on the record, so be it. I'm not about to go into details for you to jerk off to later. She rejected me with some wishy-washy bullshit about how she was confused because she felt so close to me and valued my friendship so much, and how guilty she felt for leading me on. I knew that wasn't the whole story, but thought, fine, I'll take it and move on.
No ill will then. It wasn't a problem for her.
Yeah, one time when we'd both been drinking, I said some heated things about how dangerous her patterns with men were. I was a little worried she'd blow it out of proportion in her head. All the drugs she was doing can make you feel like you're living in a DeLorean tragedy.
By the way, DeLorean tragedies are still held in high regard for innovation in language and motifs. They are also known for overwrought emotions leading to catastrophic outcomes.
Yeah, the girl seemed terrified. The merc was beyond caring what happened to his mortal coil. It was a no-brainer. Go ahead. It's your body.
And mine too, he thinks. But keep on. This must be done.
Who doesn't? Oh, you probably mean Clausia's rooftop. Sure, I've hung out there. She's got this great antenna. It's very powerful. I used it to tune into RCM frequencies. That's how I knew to be prepared for your arrival. The view's pretty bomb, too. But you might say the antenna was the main attraction there, yeah. Along with Clausia. Yes, I'm sure. And anyway, as I said before, the shot had to have come from afar. No. Gifts of flowers and candy aren't really my style. So now I'm leaving revolutionary symbols around? Come on. I never did understand why, when someone dies, a hothouse's worth of flowers has to die too. No, I did not. Yeah?
More questions before doing anything.
How should I know? As I keep saying, he already had a bullet in his head when I got to him, and there hasn't been any useful gossip over the radio.
Those rings around her eyes, her tired voice. She's been staying up late, listening in on the conversations crisscrossing Martinez.
Police radio? You've been following the case?
Who hasn't? You know, I can still see him there, in Clausia's room, lying on his side. He was still warm, but the bluish light coming through the broken window made him look as though he'd been dead for a good long while.
She eyes you warily, as though gauging your sincerity.
It's okay. We just want to...
All right, don't kill yourself over it. I was shooting the shit with Hardy and the boys over a few beers, like always. Then Clausia comes in, all pale and shuddering. She sits down with a drink, trying to steady her nerves. So I grab a seat next to her. Oh yeah, super. But I didn't think too much of it at first. I'd seen her party hard before. No, I really didn't. She's not that easy to read. I just assumed she'd done too much blow. It wouldn't be a first for her. But no such luck. She was in some deep shit. She asked me to come upstairs. The merc she'd been going with was lying on the bedroom floor, dead. I knew she couldn't get the authorities involved, so yeah.
You made it look like he'd been hanged.
What? No. Faking a lynching was her idea. Yeah, in cold blood. It really surprised me. How quickly she was able to get a hold of herself once we got up there. It was like she was another person. The party girl was gone. She asked me to help her drag him into the shower so she could wind the shower head around his neck to fake lividity. Then she dressed him while I went to get the Hardy Boys.
She lied to you about that, too.
Yeah, I wasn't sure whether to admire her or be disturbed. As I keep telling you cops, we didn't hear anything downstairs. No gunshot, nothing.
But even if this is true, weren't you worried this lynching might lead to...
War? The thought crossed my mind. But the mercenary's death was going to have repercussions either way. Although the way things are going...
She doesn't want to talk about this, but not because she has something to hide. She doesn't want the guilt.
Fuck it. I'm not responsible for these people after what they did to me. I saw you roll into town. I wasn't about to stick around for questioning by a goddamn la puta madre agent.
So this is what she was scared to tell Titus. This cop.
Yes, you. Everyone says you're his peon, his human can opener.
Through the sudden sharp pain in your head, you hear the lieutenant mumble something to himself. Fucking hell. And why me? You hear through the white noise. It's especially bad suddenly. Felt like a vein exploded.
Everyone in Jamrock, the cops, the criminals. Why do you think I'm holed up in here with a goddamn death ray waiting for you?
If she knows that about you, she must know your real name too.
Harry Dubois. One corrupt motherfucker with the disco pants and a funny tie. Agent to la puta madre.
All of this just means that you're effective. Criminals know you and are scared of you.
Right. Sure. You don't know. Yeah, sure.
She doesn't believe you.
I'm sure La Puta Madre himself will explain it all to you soon enough. You know what I did. I fucked him over. And now I have Harry Can Opener in my lair. Fucking Titus.
Wait, one thing. Possibly small, but she said you rolled into town. Was that you singular or plural? She might know something.
Yeah, you had your death squad with you. What happened to them anyway? Well, it wasn't this scrawny dude. You had 2 guys and a lady. The guys looked pretty buff. Lady wasn't bad either. One of the guys seemed chipper, a blonde. The other had a brooding something or other about him. And the woman was the only one in uniform. All were carrying. That sound about right?
No idea who these people are, literally.
I've faced worse.
She hasn't. She hasn't gone up against 3 armed people before, and she believed.
What bunker? Don't know anything about it. No one's been around since I set up camp, but I'm sure I'm not the first vagabond to...
Keep calm. Breathe in. After the pain recedes, it's a little clearer. You did it. The compressor lies broken on its side. It's quiet in your head again. It still hurts like hell, but...
All good, officer. Be careful.
She looks at the machine, assessing the damage. Her hand trembles.
Oh, fuck it. Problem solving.
Ma'am, put the gun down. That's not the solution to your problems. You are...
Oh, yes, it is.
She's truly desperate. She thinks she has no other options. You need to give her options. You know. This is how you talk her out of it. It's the only scenario in which she lives. She stares at you, frozen, the gun still in her mouth, eyes filled with dark intensity. Then something shifts in her. Gratitude, doubt. She's still ready to go. Her neck and shoulders relax, and her grip on the gun loosens.
Day of miracles. I'll take it.
She runs past you, then past the lieutenant, and disappears into the darkness of the tunnel.
Good call. I would have done the same, had I not been incapacitated. Her tent. We should check it out.
The plain red tent stands by dispassionately. It was pitched by practiced hands. She's used to camping out. The tent looks old, but well maintained. In the darkness of the tent, a rolled-up sleeping bag, cooking utensils, some books, and a kerosene lamp. It reeks of cigarettes. Assorted soft covers, mostly pulp horror. A motor carriage lies buried in the snow on one cover. On another, a ghost airship. You also see a collection of radio enthusiast magazines.
See anything?
Rager Monthly, Journal of Material Science. More Technological Digest. One of the magazines doesn't have images on the cover. It's not a magazine, it's a leather notebook. You pocket the worn brown leather journal.
We should read this immediately, like right now.
A thick journal. The cover is worn like someone used to carry it around in their back pocket. It's made of full-grain leather. The lower left corner of the back cover sports an embossed brand name, Schneller. Schneller is a stationery brand from Gottwald, beloved among architects and engineers. She's got good taste and must have taken whatever she recorded here seriously. The journal falls open. About 2/3 of its ruled pages have been filled. The large cursive of someone who writes quickly and confidently. Perhaps too confidently. Many phrases and even paragraphs have been crossed out, with tiny corrections scrawled above and in the margins. It's a mix of logistical notes, diagrams, and personal reflections, all dated.
It's good she left in a hurry. We could learn a lot from this.
Hard to tell exactly. It's mostly noted down in code. Looks like contact information, quantities, directions.
There could be useful information about local operations in those notes. We have a junior sergeant at my station who's good with codes. I can give this to her after we finish this.
Esoteric radio technology. The most recent ones probably pertain to the latitude compressor, sketches, calculations of distance and density. You make out a familiar spiral shape, short wry observations of people and places, probably a way to pass the time on the road. Also, what appears to be attempts to sort through some difficult decisions. There are a few passages with many questions in them. The way some of those question marks trail off into ellipsis, she was going through a tough time. The first entry is from August 2nd of last year. It reads simply, I know my position is precarious. All I can do is make myself as useful as I can while looking for a way out. Remember, no one is indispensable. Nothing on March 4th. March 5th, though, well, that's bound to come back and bite me in the ass. I'm bad at this. Loyal to a fault. But that's another matter entirely. She is referring to betraying her previous employer. Does this suggest she did it in self-defense? That name isn't mentioned as far as you can tell. Small wonder. Would you talk about La Puta Madre in your journal? You do see an M, though. La Puta Madre. M is mentioned on March 9th and March 15th. Great. M's peon is coming to town, no doubt to investigate the lynching. But also, I feel it in my gut to finally put a bullet in my head while I'm napping in my lorry or on a smoke break. Well, I won't stick around just to twist my own neck by constantly looking over my shoulder. Then again, isn't that what I've been doing ever since I got the call? The call? Did M call her personally? Why? Been holed up here for 3 days now. I'm used to being alone and all, but I don't know when I'll be able to leave, or if I'll be ratted out. They will rat me out, of course. I've made it a point to believe in the best in people, the boys, for example. But experience tells me, did M feel truly betrayed by me? I was feeling threatened. He'd have to know if he threatened people, they'd take measures to protect themselves. Even I know that. Economic measures, first of all. Gotta make a living, right? I can still hear his voice in the receiver. Taste the plastic. The entry ends abruptly. That must have been one hell of a conversation. The thick journal, bound in brown leather, is full of candor and diagrams. The most recent entry is from today. It reads, even when I leave here, if I leave here alive, what's my next move? Staging a lynching is a crime, even if I'm not accused of murder on top of that. Forever on the run. Not really my idea of the open road. Man, I was really looking forward to winning.
It looks like she might have been framed. No, I don't think you are. Ask someone in your precinct if you want to be sure. The head of a major Jamrock gang, specializing in drug production and trafficking. A very bad person.
He's not 100% sure you're not indebted to this very, very bad person.
I wouldn't go so far as to say that. We have other reasons to arrest her. Besides, I'm not sure her life as a fugitive is going to be much better than we does, especially if she has problems with the Madre. Classio was the one who pointed the finger at Ruby. Perhaps she was trying to steer us away from herself, or maybe she had an accomplice. Either way, we need to keep an eye on her. One thing is for certain. We have business back in the whirling and rags. Questions to ask. We should get to it.
The plain red it was pitched. dome-shaped plastic boy bobs up and down in the water amidst the...
We still got here too late. There's nothing of use here anymore. I have no idea. Or think we do. This is a small loose end, either way. Not important, I hope. That may very well be the case. We should keep an eye on her. Nothing more for us to do here. Let's go.
You could ask the miss what she thinks. Later, if you have the time.
Put your hands where I can see them.
Show me your hands. This is the pace. Show me your hands. Right now! Show me your hands! Right now!
Scavenged, battery-powered police lights protrude from her back. The flickering light show reveals a gun in her shaking hand. Her hand is trembling from some sort of neurodegenerative disease.
Madame, please drop the firearm immediately.
This is bad. Getting your weapon back is the priority. We can't have an unhinged civilian running around with a gun.
Comply, or I will light you the fuck up!
The man appears to be pulling out an object from his pocket.
Fear the threat! Fear the threat! Superseding event. Split-second decision. Get on the ground! Get on the goddamn ground! Get on the ground! I want you on the pavement right now! This is the pace! Subject yourself to a full-body cavity search. Prohibited materials concealed in nostrils, ears, mouth, navel, urethra, foreskin, vagina, and rectum.
In her mind, the cavity search is happening, as long as she's saying it. It appears the things she says are very real to her.
Be careful, detective. Don't do anything that might set her off.
The situation looks bad. Calm yourself. Steady your breathing. You have to go for the gun sooner or later. Perhaps you can learn crucial facts before you do. This is dangerous. You're 70% certain you always leave your gun loaded.
Officer, in need of assistance! Suspect alert! Get on the ground!
Ma'am, please. We want to help you, but you need to lower that weapon.
Disturbance reported. Authorized deadly force. Sector, take the shot! Big red key! Big red key!
Big red key. That's code for the battering ram. Cop talk. You know this.
It's a goddamn police shitbag! Cut the pavement! You're under arrest!
As she waves her hands, you notice familiar-looking ampoules and packets sticking out of the mountain of police gear on her back. Medicine or drugs?
Confiscated contraband! Restricted access! 2 kilos missing! Eyewitness report compromised!
I don't think she's on drugs. Being off drugs might actually be the problem here.
Back up! Back up! Back up! Status unconfirmed!
You are? Mr. Moran? No,
Aggravated assault! Man down! Suspect on foot!
There's a scenario unfolding in her head right now. It has nothing to do with what's happening here.
What's the situation, officer?
Law enforcement compromised! Impersonating a police officer!
Does she not believe you two are actually police officers?
license and registration, license and registration! Come in, dispatch! Sector Azimuth!
It's not a code, just disjointed words. She's frantic, confused, teetering under all that gear. There's an opening if you just move fast enough. If not, the lieutenant's got her in his sights. Host almighty, don't count on that. You saw the Beano Cloud can't shoot for shit.
Suicide back home. Split second decision. Eat lead, scumbag.
Oh my god. In your peripheral vision, the lieutenant releases the half-squeezed trigger.
God, I almost blew her head off.
What is this? This isn't police issue. Police weapons have bullets. This isn't real. Police gunpowders have bullets. What is this? Why did you sell me this?
She looks devastated. Grab the gun, right now.
No one ever cares anymore. Why would they treat me like this?
This limbed and headed machine of pain and undignified suffering is grinding to a halt. Tired of walking the desert, it doesn't want to feel or think anymore.
Poor woman. We need to figure out what to do with her now.
Nobody's ever around. Nobody ever comes to visit me.
Her scratched skin is warm to the touch, but the person inside doesn't even know you're there.
She's in a stupor. I've seen this before. God knows for how long. Could be days when they get like this. Honestly, I don't know. Dementia, probably. Dementia and Channel 8 and loneliness. Could be. Her hands were trembling and she did seem uncoordinated. But what are we gonna do with her? She's in a stupor. I've seen this. I've had disturbances similar to this before. Many causes, but never this bad. I don't think there's any need for that. In her current state and without a gun, she isn't really a threat to anyone. We could let Titus know. This is a perfect problem for the local peacekeepers to handle. They might even know her family. Then we can ask him once we get back to the whirling. But we have to hurry, because it's late and they might have already gone home. But I think we're done here for now. Let's head out. This is done.
Please, leave the radio on.
Reflex to what? Being left alone, she stands motionless. Just a heap of clothes and fleshes now. Maybe if you search her once more. The woman stands slumped. She looks catatonic under her mountain of RCM paraphernalia. Is one of those things a police cap? There were narcotics in there too. You're thinking of taking them. Do. The old woman doesn't react to your touch. She doesn't even flinch as you reach out and disentangle the familiar-looking lieutenant's cap from her mountain of RCM paraphernalia.
Oh, is that yours? It's your hat.
You take the vial of Pyrrolidon and the bottle of speed as evidence, obviously. She didn't consume them. She didn't look high. She confiscated them, a little like you are doing now.
You're taking those, are you? Sure. I guess that's fine.
Word has traveled, yes, but nothing of real substance has surfaced yet, I gather. Wild Pines has eyes on the intersection, but not ears.
One of the tall buildings overlooking the roundabout. It would give them a read on the entire quarter.
It appears we are being monitored every step we take, colleague. Did we have any other business here? I'm afraid we don't have time for rest stops right now, officer. We should really get back to the whirling.
The trap is full of locusts, but they seem weak and unhealthy. A few lie on their backs with their legs twitching. Still, no phasmid. Poor things. Stop. Now. It is time. Crisis. Death. You can feel it in your blue soul. Be prepared. Make sure you have your pepper box in your hand. Your fingers reflexively reach for the Villiers 9mm pistol in your pocket.
Then you'd better get ready. Whatever happens, I've got your back.
I'm all out of shits to give.
A plume of smoke and fire erupts from the gun, and your hand goes numb from the explosion. The smoke drifts west with the wind. You hear the plaza erupt in violence, slow, like a waterfall in reverse. There is a hole in his cheek. Blood gushes out as he stumbles backward, eyes filled with rage and disbelief, gurgling, muttering something unintelligible. His lips, moving, swollen with fear, are trying to say, shoot him, but he can't. To your right, the killer raises his rifle and takes aim at you. His moves are steady, but the long barrel of the rifle sways slowly. An Easter AR-FA-7, built for taking out light armored vehicles. It will devastate you. You leap left. A swarm of angry lead passes mere millimeters from your side, tearing fabric off your coat. Feels like the lightest of tucks. The man tilts his head, trying to see through the clearing smoke for the next shot. Watch out. To your left, DePaul is about to take a shot too, at Kim.
God, please.
He's aiming for the eye slot in Rude's helmet. An extremely difficult shot. 2 shots ring at once. One from the lieutenant's pistol, and the other from DePaul's. It's aimed at the lieutenant, but it misses. You hear a scream behind you. Blood gushes from the helmet's eye sockets as Rude staggers back, disoriented. The sounds coming from his helmet are not human. An unbelievable shot from the lieutenant. The helmet looks like the face of an ancient god of war, crying blood. Glenn, dying in a puddle of blood behind you. His mangled torso has 2 gunshot wounds. Blood gushes out of them like red geysers. You see 2 crazed eyes stare at you through all the smoke and the panic. With blood gushing from his face, the man raises his pistol at you. Then he squeezes the trigger. The look of vengeance, framed in blood, lips shaking. This is the last thing he'll do on Earth. But he will do it. He is your end. The look of vengeance. Here it comes. Death. You can't. There is no time. Something inside your pelvis explodes. Your entire lower body is on fire and your legs can't support you. You fall down like a rag doll. The pain is too immense to scream. It pushes the air out of your lungs. Everything goes dark. The Hardy Boys are screaming, fighting, dying. Someone jumps over you. Nearby gunfire shatters glass.
Stop! The cop! Protect the cop! He's down!
Feels slick and warm with blood. The pain is too strong to know what has happened there. Even clutching to your consciousness takes everything you got. Most of what's down there. It's all gone. Open your eyes now. You have to see what's happening. Nothing. A persisting darkness. Dancing lights of pain. Distant shadows cast by them. Like a hellish play.
You're bleeding out. Stay with me. Yes, keep talking. You hear me? Stay awake.
But you can't. It's so hard. Your eyelids grow heavy, and the sounds ever more distant. And a cold comes over you. The lieutenant, too, is somewhere far away, almost gone, when suddenly you sense something behind him, a slender white shadow towering. Someone stands there, raising her pistol at him. The lieutenant does not see it. He's pushing down on your wound with both hands.
Scream immediately. He's gonna die.
No, you scream. Behind you, from your bloody lips, your eyes are full of fear. There is no room for hesitation. The lieutenant turns around and fires, his body falling on yours in the course of the motion. You hear a faint scream, a woman's. Then the sound disappears, like someone pressed stop on the tape. The woman is gone. So is Kim. Then the whole world.
This is death. One more door, baby. One more door.
The fight? There is no fight. The fight is over. It was lost 1,000 years ago. You have laid here forever. Keep falling deeper. Take the door. He's not taking it. His body is not taking it. Oh God, no. He's not disintegrating. He's swelling up instead. Over the hours, hurting, moaning in his sleep, and rotting, and being disinfected, and smelling of drugs, and feeling saliva in his mouth, drifting in painkillers, thrashing in his womb sleep.
There is a radio in the distance, a radio of the world, playing sounds. Good morning, Elysium. Soon you will return to the world.
Hours turn to days. Soon we will get up again and go through it again. Finally we know what the infernal engine was outside. The clarion call.
The engine of a Caprice Canema.
No, it was him. He is the infernal engine. Can't you see? He never stops. He only gets worse.
Life gets hard, but we go on. You see the lieutenant's familiar shape in the orange jacket. It turns double, then triple, from the pain.
Sunrise, Parabellum. It's not ouch time yet. You just got the Dramamine pill an hour ago. Wait until it wears off.
Dramamine? Then it's not that bad. Neither surgical nor organ damage bad, but still under the counter bad.
What happened? You shot the major in the face. A firefight ensued. Yes. As retaliation, the rifleman tried shooting you. He missed, or you dodged. I shot and wounded him, while Glenn took a bullet in the spine. It was meant for me. He did not survive.
This is not the first person to die in his place. He goes on.
Titus, Fat Angus, and Theo charged. Angus and Theo did not make it. They both died before they made it to intensive care. Titus survives. So do Alain and the musician. I forget his name. Yes, he's still alive too. You were bleeding out by then. I think you said something about your wife, and you warned me. I was able to disarm one of them, the Pole, before she got a jump on me. I killed her, and that's what happened. This is the one. The Pole was the last to die. Everhart had their bodies returned to Crenel for a funeral. The company is yet to retaliate. Because we deterred them? Or Joyce did? Maybe the harbor in full lockdown is too costly a target. Or maybe they are simply taking their time and will attack soon. I don't know. 3. Glenn, Theo, Angus. The fat one. He took a lot of bullets. And Theo, he was just too old for combat. All. Yes, officer. 7 people are dead. It's not a success. But what's done is done. The violence is cordoned off. The mercenary tribunal is neutralized. The worst scenario has not materialized yet. And we are still alive. Both of us.
He did not expect you both to survive once you stepped between those two armies.
Mr. Gart cleaned it. It took him an entire day. 2 days, in and out. You've been up enough to take Dramamine and curse. And drink water. Yes, the joke wasn't funny anymore. I took it off.
The close proximity of death must have made the lieutenant contemplate his life choices. He's done with the jacket.
Sunrise parabellum. Sunrise, prepare for war. It's an old revolutionary saying.
Isn't that written on your...
It served you well. The gates of the harbor are boarded up. The streets are a little more empty. Apocalyptic violence is yet to erupt, I am relieved to say. I think we may have held it off, for now. Barely. Yes, we have also completely failed, but that's okay. Reasonably bad. You were shot in the left quadriceps. That's your thigh. The outer side, thankfully, no major arteries were nicked. The bullet was removed and a bacterial infection treated with mercurochrome. We will see.
You won't be able to dance much, that's for sure. You should be able to live with limping around, though.
No. I called your station after the fight. The injury was logged in. They told me they've sent officers to join you on the site. I'm sure they're worried about you.
That means he hasn't seen them around while you were out. They're not really worried about you. If they were, wouldn't they be here? Sorry. He may have some idea, but he's not gonna get into it with you.
Not very. I have a concussion from that woman beating me with the butt of her gun. I tried to not move too much. Things would be worse if you didn't warn me. Thank you. I did not see her coming. Stupid of me. I did. No need. Easy now.
Your balance is way off. You feel like you're about to fall over on that thing.
How are you? Your disco days should have been done quite a while back, Lieutenant Liefreiter. I honestly don't know. We can't talk to Everard. The harbor is in lockdown. Everyone in there is outside our grasp now. Joyce has left too. We never got to know what she would have told us. I'm sure it was important. Yes, Joyce Messier. On the boat, you know? She could have helped us. It's clear the mercenaries were working for Wild Pines. At least partially. It's a little late to elicit her support now. Ruby's gone, and Class here too. We really should have arrested her, you know? Guard confirmed she left 20 minutes prior to the tribunal showing up. I don't know. I think the theory you presented, it's someone else outside our circle of suspects, was right. It better be. Everyone within the circle is either dead or gone. Honestly, I think our investigation has not produced a single credible suspect. What? Every piece of garbage in the city is not connected to the case. You don't have to keep everything.
He's wrong.
Okay. Don't be narcissistic. Half the cops in Revachol West are his peonies. Even if you are, it is not a decisive factor in this case.
That does make some sense.
I don't know. That's been there for years. Yes, God cursed the footprints, not solving the case for us. Au diable. We should go upstairs, rethink the ballistics in situ. I agree with this. What else? It's extremely easy. There are thousands lying around. We found one, all completely unusable. It's precisely how easy it is to find one that makes the bullet useless. We could find thousands more if we wanted. All of Revachol is full of them. I'm afraid we may not be able to locate communism, Detective, on account of it being dead. Ideology does not have anything to do with the murder investigation at hand. I'm sorry, it does not.
He arches his brow. The ceiling fan patiently spins overhead.
It can feel that way sometimes, yes.
That concussion must be making him dizzy.
No. Are you ready to limp? Good. Where do you want to limp to?
The lieutenant did mention doing more ballistics. Also, it's just close enough to endure the walk.
Why not? Another look at the window, perhaps? The one he was shot through. I don't know. I can't think of anything better.
The bathroom mirror has been wiped completely clean. These papers bear the stamp of the RCM. They appear to be fragments of the lieutenant's paperwork, half finished. You may have notes on this and other recent cases.
I had Gart open the door to your room. You were running a low bacterial fever the first night. It would have been easy were it not for my concussion. We both got lucky, considering the odds we faced. Let's go? I am sure neither of
Next to the stack of bills, you see a note, a few lines jotted down in large, uneven handwriting, just as the writer was about to rush out the door. I'm sorry, I fucked everyone over. P.S. I didn't kill him. P.P.S. Gift upstairs.
a gift. I am not drawing my gun, yet, but I don't like gifts.
He says he's not, but his hand moves instinctively toward his holster as he studies the note.
It's hardly surprising.
You look at her rough, jagged handwriting on the note. She was in a rush, but not panicked. Deliberate, focused. medicine cabinet is empty. Not even a toothbrush. Pity.
Of course you were. How does that work anyway? Amphetamine. Does it make you a better detective?
There is little condescension in his phrasing. More measured curiosity.
That's what I thought. Let's go? She certainly had her priorities straight when she was packing.
You see the same two neon-lit shapes, a man and a woman, only now a red thread bisects the room, pointing from the antenna outside to the cupboard on the wall.
This is ballistics. She's left a trajectory for us.
A ray of backward motion explodes from his mouth to the roof outside, A prime, to then widen into a radius of locations in Martinez, B prime. B, it suggests the bullet came from the extreme upper quadrant of possible angles, from a point beyond the roof, B triple prime. The island in the bay.
She was there that night. She would have known precisely where the bullet hole was in the glass.
She had a long time to think about it after, standing on that roof, staring at the glass.
It also looks like there may be more to her skill set than we know. The question is, should we trust her? I find that hard to believe, but at this point, what difference does it make? Unless she thinks the perpetrator was standing on the ring antenna. That is where the thread seems to point. I remember. So it is.
For a second he seems tired.
I just haven't gotten a lot of sleep these past few days.
He doesn't really believe this will yield anything. The lead is flimsy. You might as well go around Martinez looking under every rock and talking to every person. But what else is there? There, across the grey water, amidst crumbling concrete, a birch tree, and the half-sunken ruins of a flak tower.
Not a lot, no. Could be the makings of a sniper's nest.
Why not? Military fortifications are made for that kind of thing.
Of course. I mean, how do we get there? Joyce Messier had a sloop, but she's gone. Ah, yes, of course. The village. Let's go.
Oh, you're up. It's good to see you back on your feet. Did you like your room? I cleaned it for you. You're welcome. I thought it would be nice for you to wake up in a clean place after you, let's be fair, defended this establishment and its clientele from gunfire. I give credit where credit is due, and that, sir, was a nice shot. I was watching until you hit him. Crawled inside then. Bullets started flying. Anyway, I wish you a quick recovery. Also, you and your partner are staying here free now. This establishment supports cops. The stay is free, the drinks are not. It just felt I needed to specify that. Oh, you know, people don't tend to stick around after shootouts. Turns out they're not good for business. I don't remember everyone who comes here, and many people wear sunglasses inside lately. Must be a fad. Yeah, I was, yeah. That's because I'm a badass. Yeah, I don't know. Clients were panicking. And also, I guess I sort of found out that I don't give a shit if I die.
He means it. It's not just boasting. It's something he discovered about himself, stepping onto that balcony.
No problem. They'll come back. They always do.
Hi again, gendarme. Bye-bye, gendarme.
Seeing you approach, the bruised man raises his bear in welcome.
Crazy motherfucker. Didn't think you had that fury in you, but I guess I've misjudged a lot of people lately. That was one hell of a shot. Hell of a shot. The fucks did not expect that. I guess what I'm trying to say here is, thank you for intervening, fellas. That was mighty brave of you. Well, cheers anyway, copper. Theo was old. I think he'd be pretty happy with the way he went. Never could imagine him withering away on a sickbed. But Angus, he was just a stupid kid. Didn't realize the mess he'd gotten into. Trusted me. Still, the balls on that kid. Went down fighting for someone else's shit like a fat, angry bear.
Here it comes. The last one is the worst one. He only deals with it by drinking copious amounts of 8% beer.
And Glenn was my friend. Best I've ever had. I love that crazy homo like my own brother. We're all fucked without him. But what do? This job is shit. Dennis, you saw him run. He's a mean little shit and I never trusted him. He'd better run real fast now. Well, yeah. Memento Mori.
Memento Mori, or remember that you must die, is a slogan various religious orders have thrown around since the dawn of mankind to emphasize the vanity of earthly life and the transient nature of all earthly pursuits. In essence, it means one should live virtuously in this life to live better in the afterlife.
Sure it does. Live every day like it's your last, 'cause you might be dead tomorrow. First, we're gonna find Dennis.
I'm going to find Dennis. I'm going to find him, and then I'm going to kill him.
The tone of the statement is so matter-of-fact. It's as though he were talking about picking up a morning newspaper on his daily walk around the block.
We're hunting that rat down. Let it be known what happens to cowards. And then I guess I'll take a closer look at our union members. There's bound to be some ambitious fellows there who'd love nothing more than advancing social democracy by busting some heads. Might even ask Tibbs if he's tired of replacing windows, and maybe wants to have some fun with his brother. Anyway, don't you worry. As long as Titus Hardy's standing, there will be Hardy boys.
He's right. The numbers are replaceable. In an organization of thousands of men, there are plenty who'd join.
Don't know? Don't care. I'll be glad if I never see that fucking woman again.
He nods and takes another sip of whiskey.
Judging by the sight of you, I'd suggest crawling into bed with a bottle of whiskey in one hand and a big tit in the other.
Yeah, go pay Monica a visit in Janrock. She's got a knack for making men forget about their worries. Biggest pair of milkers in all Rebacho.
Hell, you both look like you could use some feminine company right now.
Thank you for your advice, Eugene, and you too, Alain. I do always appreciate a good use of the expression milkers.
It sincerely amuses him how hard these guys typecast themselves.
You're welcome, Bina Claude. You're all right in my book. Take care, coppers. You two look after yourselves now. Death passed on you today, but men don't get that lucky twice.
Copo loco. And normal cop, I guess. Good luck in Shamrock. Scars made the best tattoos, they say.
Thanks for getting involved, guys. Not a lot of cops would step into that line of fire, but you did.
And if you ever feel like the uniform is holding you back, I've got a few vacancies. You'd make one hardy boy, copper.
The graffito has been painted over the traces of the fight that took place here. It smells of blood and heavy fuel oil. This was Cindy the Skull. The lieutenant crouches, touching the fuel oil with his finger.
Looks like it, yes. This is still fresh. It wasn't here yesterday. And blood. Some of it is even yours.
Heavy fuel oil. Isn't that flammable? You could buy some smokes, light up a ciggy and throw it in there, you know, just to see what happens. See if it's flammable. It's better that way. Safer.
Mon Dieu, officer. It is worse than I thought. Believe me, I know all about that kind of pain. I've had hip trouble for the past week. Maybe it's time to slow down, enjoy life a bit. Anything I can do to assist you?
Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio microphone.
This is Precinct 57. How may I assist you?
Something is wrong. Only static hisses through the speaker. No reply. Only the mindless drone of static crawling through the air.
It's been this way for a while now. My guess is the Union is listening in on our conversations and jamming outward communications to protect themselves from Crenel. It only happens when someone mentions the attack. The rest is unaffected. Our best bet is to carry on like nothing happened. That is, if we don't want us cut off the grid completely. No more dangerous than stepping between 3 armed mercenaries and 8 Union men, I hope. I don't like it either, but that's the way it is. The street seems safe enough to me. If anything, taking out the mercs made things calmer. For now. You can try calling again. Just don't mention the tribunal. And remember, they are listening in.
Everything sounds okay. No drumbeat of total war yet. If anything, everything sounds too okay. In the cabin, you see a set of steering.
This is Precinct 57. How may I assist? Just a moment.
10-4, come in, officer. Over. 10-4, sir. Roger that, and very glad to hear it. I will make relevant changes to the report. 10-4, sir. Well, there's been some talk, sir. I only meant that there's been some talk in the station, that's all. But there's always some talk in the station. You know how officers in Jamrock are. But then again, some of us truly are on the take. It's unfortunate. Over. Roger that, 10-10, over and out.
This is Precinct 57. It will take just a moment.
Her voice...
Gottlieb, what is it now? Ah, it's you. Walking, talking, though. Great. Any other complaints?
Anything else I can help you with, officer? Just a second, officer. Sylvie Malaika on the line. Yes. Hello? Oh, great.
You hear...
Anything else I can help you with, officer?
In the cabin, you see a set.
Is this about the questions again? Because I don't...
A small cabinet on the wall is filled with various medicine bottles, nasal sprays, and blister. To the left of the cross, a colorful display of cigarettes and alcohol bottles line the shop wall, inviting you closer.
Again, I'm obliged to inform you that both alcohol and cigarettes damage your health. Here you go, mister.
The graffito has been painted over the This was Cindy the Skull. The fuel oil catches fire immediately with an ominous hiss. A bright orange flash across the surface of the letters. Black smoke rises from the burning message. The lieutenant has taken a small step back. He looks at your face illuminated by the flames and nods silently. Then the fire falters. The flames warmed him too. Not at all in a bad way.
Let's go to that island.
Slowly, the flames subside, the fuel burning out. The air still smells of mazout and springtime.
Officer, what happened? You're limping. Why are you limping? You look terrible.
You're not limping. You're you.
Is this from the shooting in town? We heard gunshots. Not that we don't hear gunshots all the time, but they were closer than usual.
There was an exchange of fire on Rue de Saint-Guylaine. It's nothing to be worried about, madame.
You didn't only get shot.
Of course. Can I help you with something? That won't be a problem. It's wind still and the tar just dried. We've got 2 days of relative sunshine ahead. If you promise to bring it back, and no scraping the hull, I just got it nice and yellow, and no drinking on the boat, and no joyriding either.
Of course, ma'am. It's only for a day or two. Official police business.
Aye.
The crow's feet disappear from the corners of her eyes as she smiles at you.
Used to be some kind of fortification there before the war. For the communards. An anti-aircraft gun, I think, bombed to bits in the landing. I haven't been there myself. Always steered clear of it.
Hasn't been there herself. Who has then?
My husband used to drink there. Him and his drinking buddies. Always seemed like a bad place to drink to me. People died there during the landing, you know. My mother told me.
This must be one of the many fortifications that was used in the dying days of the revolution against coalition forces before they took this city.
The kids sometimes go there too. I know they do, on rafts. I tell them not to, but they bring back old bullet casings and such. The twins. God forbid they bring the girl along on some rickety barge.
Can we maybe ask your twins about that place before we go? Would that be alright?
Be my guest. They've a strange way of talking. See if you can get anything useful out of them. I seldom do. Well, most of it's sunken. Underwater. That means concrete underwater. Cut your boat if you're not careful. Be sure to enter from the south side. Water's deep there.
Aye, aye, Captain.
Please be conservative with the fuel, will you? Just filled her up, but it's a...
A skiff with a small steering engine in the back floats on the calm mirror of the sea. Its 2 seats are empty. Once you get in, that's it. One pull of the starter handle, and you're off into the bay. A strange trepidation comes over you. Are you sure you want to go now? Have you made all the necessary preparations? Closed all your accounts? Remember what the net picker said. It's a small tank. You won't be going back and forth on this. boat comes to a slow stop. The lieutenant turns the engine off. Then there's silence. In the silence, a sputter of wings. A flock of quails takes off in the distance.
Let's go.